Good morning, everybody. And I've been to a few meetings since things opened up, but I'm still at the point that you have to make sure you have your pants on when you get up in front of the group. But I think I'm fine. And I'd really like to thank everybody for being here. This is, I think, our 7th Discuss conference. We missed one? Well, we had a party instead. You know, this is our key event that the Breakthrough Initiatives do. A lot of you probably know what we do, but I'll repeat it. We're looking for life in the universe. We have a number of initiatives and are considering more. There's 3 fundamental questions we're addressing. The first is there life anywhere off the Earth? Second is there intelligent life anywhere? That's a harder question because it raises the issue, is there intelligent life here? The last couple of years suggest not. But the third one is can we send probes to interstellar distances? And we've made great progress in all those. You'll hear about some of that while we're here. But more to the point, this is our another primary initiative, which is to bring the community together to discuss these issues. This year you'll hear a lot more about this, but things are getting a lot more doable, meaning cheaper. So we want to explore what we can do fast and quick and cheap. So I think you'll hear a lot of exciting efforts. I'd like to thank all of our co-sponsors. I don't have the list of them here. I think they're on the UC Santa Cruz, Arizona State, Berkeley, Caltech, Harvard-Smithsonian, and they've all been very helpful in getting this set up. But probably most important, I want to thank our host here today at UC Santa Cruz. Now, I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but several of my staff, and it's known in the area, this is Ewok Village, as you can tell. So if you see Ewoks around, I think they're harmless. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce Paul Koch, who's the Dean of Physical and Biological Sciences. Paul? Yep. Oh, right there. It's good to see you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's how many of you have not been to? How many of you, is this your first trip to Santa Cruz? Great. Okay, excellent. And for those of you in the cloud, come sometime. I'm the Dean of Physical and Biological Sciences. I'm an earth scientist as well. I study fossils, paleontology, and I'll just a little bit about Santa Cruz. Well, one, I'm really delighted that this conversation is happening here over the next 2 days, and I'm looking forward to. I'm going to try to jump in a few times if I can. I've got a packed schedule, but I'm going to try to get to some of the conversation. I'm delighted it's happening here, and Santa Cruz. Yeah, beyond the Ewoks, Santa Cruz has always been a place where people, let's put it this way, I would meet people when I was a graduate student or even an undergrad who had been students here. They didn't think like other people. They thought, yeah, they came at problems from different directions. And I think that's exactly what you're going to be trying to do here over the next 2 days. The science division, which I lead, has 9 different programs. They're all really small, and part of the reason that I think people think differently here is that you can know much of the science division. It's possible to get ideas from outside of your discipline. And when I became dean, I knew 3/4 of the science faculty. I knew what they did, and that kind of an environment breeds different ideas when it's kind of part of the ethos that you're thinking along with your colleagues from different disciplines. So another part of the mission of UC Santa Cruz, we're a minority-serving institution. We have been since 2012, and we're working hard to make sure that all voices are part of the conversations that we have. The science graduates, we graduate about 1,000 students a year in the sciences, and 55% of them are women, and 1/3 of them are from groups that have been traditionally excluded from science. So we're generating the next the next generation of thinkers. I think I will, I'll close there just by thanking you. Explore the campus if you want, carefully. There's a forest that way. The trails are reasonably well marked, but yeah, it's a special place, and I hope you enjoy your time here. And without further ado, I will introduce Dave DeBoer from UC Berkeley.
So I'm really happy to be back at Santa Cruz. As I say, my children and my money went to Santa Cruz, so I haven't been here in a number of years, but it's a beautiful place, and I'm very happy to be here. I'm actually here on behalf of the UC Berkeley, different campus, Radio Astronomy Lab, and its director, Aaron Parsons. We want to welcome you here, and we're very pleased and proud to co-host Breakthrough Discuss, as well as be the host institution for the Breakthrough Listen initiatives. So I don't know, just a little bit about the Radio Astronomy Lab. It's kind of fun. We were founded over 65 years ago, and we have a very extensive and long history of radio astronomy accomplishments. The first polyatomic molecules found in space were radio astronomy researchers at the RAL. The first millisecond pulsar, discovery at the Radio Astronomy Lab in RAL. And as well as a lot of fundamental discoveries and advancements in radio interferometers, design, instrumentation, epoch of ionization, early universe studies, and so on. So we're not here to talk about that, but the RAL, of course, also has a very long history with the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, really starting, I guess, in 1980 when the Hat Creek Radio Observatory hosted the search for radio emissions from extraterrestrials, of developed intelligent populations, or the Serendip project. That was in 1980. And of course, that led to the same developments through the Allen Telescope Array constructed in the 2000s. And that's actually when I came on the scene at the Radio Astronomy Lab to participate in that. And we have a good contingent of Hat Creek and ATA folks here in this part of the audience. As I mentioned, the Radio Astronomy Lab is very proud and pleased to be the host institution of the Breakthrough Listen initiative, which is humanity's most extensive and sensitive search for our cosmic companions, and we hope to continue to do that and advance and increase what we do out there. So all of these activities have been geared towards understanding our place in the universe and understanding the universe itself, and we are very pleased to welcome you to this conference, which has a lot of inspiring and interesting talks. And I believe next up is David Korsmeyer from NASA Ames.
Thanks, Dave. Hi, everybody. I'm from the U.S. government, and I'm here to help. I had to get that out. It usually happens. I really want to thank everybody for coming out today. We are a big fan of the Breakthrough Initiative, Breakthrough Discuss. I listened to it for the past 2 years online, for example. This is always a great place to get truly innovative, new concepts, new synergies, interstitial ideas. NASA Ames is just up the road, actually about 40 minutes away at the south part of the San Francisco Bay. We already work excellently with UC Santa Cruz, UC Berkeley, and all the various elements here. I'm sure many of your institutions and individuals have worked with us in the past. In fact, Pete, James, and Jamie are all alumni of NASA Ames, though they don't always admit it in public. That's good. Yes, thank you, Pete. When I worked for Pete, I actually had the pleasure of leading one of our core competencies at Ames, which was cost-efficient space missions, right up the theme of what we've got going on here today for the Breakthrough Initiative discussions. NASA Ames has been around since 1939. We're 83 years old, and we sometimes feel like it if you've seen our buildings, but we are very cutting edge in our ideas. We are one of the principal research centers within NASA. And what that means is we come up with the crazy, the innovative, the imaginative ideas. And while we do that as best as we can, being a government agency, we are not able to sufficiently do it by ourselves. So we look to organizations and teams like you within academia and industry, nonprofits, and we look for the great next concepts. One of the core competencies at NASA Ames is astrobiology, and another one is space biology. So what's the difference? Well, hey, astrobiology is looking for life-like processes that don't exist on Earth, somewhere else in the universe. Space biology is trying to figure out how terrestrial life can live, function, and operate in space, which, by the way, is not easy. Don't think the astronauts come back healthy. One of the most important things we can do, though, is to be open to new ideas and to listen. And so I basically applaud you all for participating in this. We really think this is a great activity, and we're very happy to help sponsor and support this, and welcome from NASA Ames. I'd like to pass this off to Charles Alcock, who I believe is online from Harvard.
Hello, can you hear me? So I'm Charles Alcock, as introduced, and I'd like to thank Pete Worden and his team for putting together this extraordinary discussion, and to take my turn to welcome you all to the Breakthrough Discuss for 2022. I've attended 2 previous examples of this meeting in person, and they've been extraordinarily interesting and stimulating. So I'm here from the Center for Astrophysics for Harvard and Smithsonian. I'm the former director. I stepped down a few months ago, and my successor, Lisa Cooley, is expected from Australia to take the reins in a matter of weeks or so. The Center for Astrophysics is the union of the Harvard College Observatory, which was founded in the mid-19th century, and the Smithsonian Astrophysical Observatory, which was founded at the end of the 19th century. SAO moved to Cambridge in the mid-50s to look for synergies with the Harvard College Observatory, and that led in the 1972-1973 timeframe to the closer union, where it was agreed that the 2 institutions would pretend to act as one. We would share all of our resources, so any telescope resources on one side are available to the scientific staff on the others. The CFA has grown to be about 800 persons, of whom almost 300 have PhDs, and we have about 55 graduate students in residence, of whom slightly more than 50% are female. We have telescopes in Arizona, Hawaii, Chile, and at the South Pole. And I'm presently working very hard with colleagues from around the world on getting an extremely large telescope we call the Giant Magellan Telescope built in Chile. The first light spectrograph for the Giant Magellan Telescope is known as GCLEF. It's a high dispersion spectrograph that can be used on bright targets. And one of its primary design goals is to be able to detect breathable oxygen in the atmosphere of a rocky exoplanet in the habitable zone. So we're tremendously vested in the underlying theme of life in the universe. And I would be incomplete if I didn't mention my good friend and colleague, Avi Loeb, who's had a long association with the Breakthrough Foundation, who's recently started the Project Galileo to do observational examinations of the unidentified aerial phenomena that have been reported quite recently by DoD spokespeople. As many of you know, these reports come from sources who are usually expected to be reliable, military pilots who are highly trained, but they're not scientifically useful because they're unrepeatable, they're not typically recorded. And so Avi intends to see whether it's possible to actually detect objects and have repeatable observations of them. I have to say that I have enormous respect for and affection for the Breakthrough organization and its commitment to high-risk, high-payoff science. And I'd like to note that the Event Horizon Telescope collaboration, which reported its second image of a black hole recently, won the Breakthrough Prize in 2019, what I believe might be the shortest time period between a discovery being announced and a prize being awarded. That kind of alacrity and nimbleness, I think, will serve the Breakthrough folks well. So I think I should wrap up now. Thank you very much for the opportunity to welcome you all to Breakthrough Discuss. I'm sure you'll enjoy it and profit from it. I'm afraid I don't know who's coming next, so somebody else will have to do that introduction.
Thank you very much, Charles. It's a great pleasure to have you hosting us once again. I'd just like to introduce Natalie Battaglia, who is another host here at UCSC, who has a few words for us at the beginning of the meeting. And I also wanted to let you know that because we're a hybrid meeting, and we will have people joining on Zoom specifically for certain talks, we may end the welcomes a little early, and so we'll just take a 5-minute break and then start session 1 on time as per the schedule. So Natalie, over to you.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to UC Santa Cruz. I'm Natalie Battaglia, Professor of Astronomy and Astrophysics here at the university, but also the director of our astrobiology program, a nascent astrobiology program. I grapple with science questions related to the diversity of exoplanets, and for me personally, that's motivated by the search for life in the universe and understanding its distribution and propensity, the propensity for life. Now, for 363 days of the year, the underlying strategy and the framework for that thinking is the Decadal Survey, which comes out of this federal effort to define strategic priorities. But for 2 days of every year, I get to come here and I get to think outside the box. And that has been extremely useful to me and very, it's really helped me in my scientific career. And we owe that to the Breakthrough Foundation. Now, its creator and primary sponsor, Yuri Milner, I know little about him, but I know something because I've met him several times. And one thing I can say about him with certainty is that he has this insatiable curiosity and almost childlike wonder for science, especially space science and the search for life. And that's really why I'm here, is because of that wonder that he carries that motivates him. But there's a couple of other things I've observed in attending the Breakthrough Discuss conferences. One is that it's human behavior to have a low tolerance for crazy ideas. And yet this is a forum for crazy ideas. I have seen crazy ideas be vilified, much to our detriment. The Kepler mission, for example, is one such area where an early crazy idea was vilified. And I can give you other examples. There's another behavior that I've observed, and that is rooted in the fact that there is a psychology of scarcity in the science, because, let's face it, there is competition for resources. There are limited resources, funding, right? And so here we are at a conference sponsored by a foundation, and these two human behaviors can tend to bring out the worst in us. I'll just say that out loud. So I have 5 things to ensure that I'd like to share with you to ensure that you have a really good time these 2 days. The first is to check your ego at the door, please. The second is to respect crazy ideas, embrace them, and just have respect for what people are saying. The third is you will have more fun, I guarantee you, if you forget about funding. Let's see. Number 4 is to channel your inner Yuri Milner and reawaken your childlike wonder and passion for science. And then finally, number 5, we are surrounded by these majestic redwoods. Life is the pinnacle of complexity in the universe, and that should inspire you whether you are a cosmologist or an astrobiologist, because they are all rooted in understanding the evolution of complexity, right? Why we're here. So my 5th thing is to allow yourself to be inspired by these majestic redwoods and contemplate how they are related to everything that motivates you to be here today with us. Welcome and enjoy the conference.